You've got a nerve-wracking Week 14 coming up in Arrowhead, and this one matters more than just another Sunday night game. It's a crossroads for the Chiefs' season. Right now, every game is a playoff pitchfork. Wins buy breathing room, and losses compress the margin for error. For you watching at home, what that boils down to is simple. Can the Chiefs fix the obvious holes they've shown the last few weeks and protect Patrick Mahomes long enough to get into a rhythm? This video breaks that down into 3 things I want you watching. 1. The make-or-break status of the offensive line and who's stepping in up front. 2. How Houston's defensive front and secondary plan to create chaos. And 3. The game management moves, time of possession, and red zone efficiency. That will decide the outcome. I'll walk you through the exact matchups and the roster changes that matter most, and give you a clear, justified score prediction at the end. Before we jump in, quick favor. Hit subscribe and help us push Total Chiefs News to 6,000 subscribers, and smash that like button if you want more game-by-game breakdowns. Now vote in the on-screen poll. Do you think the Chiefs win at Arrowhead this weekend? Yes or no? Okay, with that out of the way, let's get into the injury report and exactly who's available. Because that's the single biggest swing factor for this game. This is where the entire matchup shifts, because the injury lists for both teams don't just affect depth. They completely redefine what Sunday night is going to look like. And for the Chiefs, let's start with the headline you already know, but still stings to say out loud. Your starting left tackle, Josh Simmons, is officially on injured reserve with that fractured wrist he suffered against Dallas. That alone would change how you evaluate this game, but it doesn't stop there. On the opposite side of the line, Jawan Taylor is listed as doubtful with that triceps issue, and it hasn't trended in the right direction. Then you stack Trey Smith on top of that, also doubtful, dealing with both a high and low ankle sprain. Put it all together, and you're talking about potentially 3 missing starters along the offensive line in a game where protecting Mahomes is the one thing you absolutely have to do to win. So, who replaces them? Andy Reid confirmed that Wanya Morris is expected to start at right tackle, and Jalen Moore is sliding over to the left side. That's a flip from the continuity you had earlier in the year, and it matters because offensive line play is all about reps, feel, and timing. Moore has spent most of the season working on the left side, so you can justify keeping him there, but switching Morris over in this matchup is a calculated risk. When Morris stepped in earlier this year, think back to the Buffalo game. Mahomes saw pressure on 6 of 9 dropbacks during that stretch. You don't need a coaching clinic to understand why that's concerning with Will Anderson Jr. lined up on the other side. And speaking of the Texans' front, Houston took a major hit of their own, with Tim Settle undergoing season-ending foot surgery. That removes a big interior body from their defensive line rotation, and that absolutely helps the Chiefs' interior group, especially if Kansas City wants to lean on quick-run concepts or let Isaiah Pacheco hit downhill before the edge pressure collapses the pocket. But even without Settle, the Texans still throw one of the best pass-rushing trios in the AFC at you. Will Anderson Jr., Danielle Hunter, and a blitz package that has produced top-tier disruption all season. Anderson himself is banged up, but he's expected to play, and even at 85–90%, he's explosive enough to wreck drives. The Texans' secondary also comes into this game thin. Kamari Lassiter, their number 2 corner, missed practice this week with a foot injury. Safety Jalen Peter is dealing with a forearm issue, and Houston has already been testing its depth on the back end. That's the weakness you hope Mahomes can attack. But none of it matters if the pass protection collapses before he gets 2 seconds to throw. That's why this chapter sets the tone for the entire preview. The availability of these players doesn't just change who plays. It changes the entire structure of both game plans. Before we go deeper into the matchups and the chessboard between Mahomes and that Texans pass rush, I want to hear from you in the comments. Which backup offensive linemen are you least confident in going into Sunday night? Drop a name, and I'll feature the most common pick in the next breakdown. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe to Total Chiefs News as we push toward 6,000 subscribers. This is the chess match that decides the game, and it all comes down to matchups, especially up front. With Simmons on IR and Trey Smith and Jawan Taylor trending toward missing the game, the Chiefs are almost certainly sending out a reworked line that features Wanya, Morris and Jalen Moore as your bookend tackles, and Mike Caliendo or another depth guard inside if Trey can't go. That matters because it changes how Andy Reid and the offensive staff must approach play calling. You can't ask these backups to win one-on-one battles for 60 snaps against an elite Texans front without help. So expect a twofold plan out of Kansas City. More quick-release concepts and designed spacing to get the ball out early, and a heavy dose of play action and misdirection to create space for Isaiah Pacheco and short passing targets. If you're the guy watching at home, watch the pre-snap personnel and the protection slides. If you see max protect looks or a tight end staying in to chip Will Anderson Jr. or Danielle Hunter, that's the coaches trying to buy Mahomes an extra half-second. On the Texans' side, losing Tim Settle to season-ending foot surgery helps the Chiefs' interior blocking. It gives you a chance to run between the tackles and get movement on early downs. But don't get cute. Houston's edge rushers are still first-rate. Will Anderson Jr. is expected to play even if he's not 100%. And Danielle Hunter is a proven matchup nightmare who will challenge whoever lines up against him. That creates a predictable dynamic. The Chiefs are incentivized to attack Houston's secondary, which has its own holes after injuries, but only if Mahomes has pockets to step up into. If pressure is consistently coming off the edge, those targets in the slot and middle of the field get covered in a heartbeat. So what specific plays and situations am I telling you to watch? First, third down play calling. If the Chiefs default to shotgun 3-wide quick outs and screens to neutralize the rush, that's the smart short-term play. If, however, you see a lot of 12 personnel and deep dropbacks with single high coverage, that's a recipe for sacks and negative plays. Second, red zone approach. Kansas City has struggled inside the 20 this season. With a compromised O-line, they'll need creative tight end and RB usage, quick seam throws to Travis Kelce, delayed runs, or rollouts to create one-on-one matchups. Third, time of possession. The Texans will try to chew clock with sustained drives to keep Mahomes off the field. If Houston is converting third downs and controlling the line of scrimmage, the game tilts heavily in their favor. A few tactical micro-battles to highlight. Wanya Morris versus Will Anderson Jr., or whoever the Texans slide to that set, is the single highest leverage matchup. If Morris can hold up in pass sets and avoid getting beat inside on stunts, the Chiefs keep their shot. Jalen Moore will have to handle power and quickness on the right, and that becomes a matchup to monitor every series. Inside, if the Chiefs can get movement from their guards against a lighter Texans interior, you'll see more downhill Pacheco runs that both chew clock and keep Mahomes clean. And don't sleep on situational pass rush tactics. Houston loves to disguise blitzes with stunts, so pay attention to pre-snap alignment and the first three-step rhythm of Mahomes. If he's forced to scramble often, it's going to be a long night. Producer note, for the upload, show a pass rush heat map during early downs and a third down pressure graphic when discussing third down strategy. It makes the trench story visible to casual viewers. Quick in-video poll for you now. Do you think Mahomes gets sacked 3 or more times on Sunday night? Vote yes or no in the poll and leave a quick comment explaining why. And one last reminder, if you want more breakdowns like this, hit subscribe and help Total Chiefs News reach 6,000 subscribers, and like the video if you want the prediction and final keys next. All right, here's the bottom line and the way I see this playing out. With multiple offensive line starters unavailable or doubtful, the Chiefs are fighting the clock on 2 fronts: protecting Patrick Mahomes and generating sustainable drives. If the Chiefs can limit negative plays up front and get their quick passing game working early, they still have the personnel and playmaking to win at Arrowhead. If the offensive line gets overwhelmed and Mahomes is forced into frequent scrambles, Houston's top-ranked defense will turn those pressures into scoring opportunities and time of possession control. Given what we know from the injury reports, Josh Simmons on IR, and both Jawan Taylor and Trey Smith trending doubtful, plus the big Texans' still dangerous edge rushers, Will Anderson Jr. expected to play, I'm taking the Texans in a close one. Texans 27, Chiefs 24. This score reflects Houston's ability to control the clock and manufacture pressure, and Kansas City's remaining upside in the passing game if they can protect Mahomes just enough to hit a few big plays. Final keys you should watch live. Protect Mahomes. If Wanya Morris and Jalen Moore can keep Mahomes upright and avoid early third and longs, the Chiefs can sustain drives and make Houston pay in the secondary. Win the third down battle. Houston wants to convert and keep Mahomes sidelined. Short yardage conversions by KC, Kelsey, Pacheco swing the game. Reduce negative plays, sacks, penalties, and blown assignments will magnify the Texans' strengths. The Chiefs must play clean and smart. Attack the depleted Texans' secondary. If Mahomes has time, target the slot and seams where Houston's depth is thinner. Special teams and field position. In a bay, close game, punts, returns, and the kicker matter. Harrison Butker's leg will be especially valuable if this is a 3-score swing affair. If this, then that. Quick checklist for you and the coaches. If the Chiefs keep Mahomes under 2 sacks, KC's chances jump significantly. If Mahomes is pressured 5+ times, expect a Texans win. If the Chiefs dominate time of possession, 14+ minutes advantage in the second half, they flip the odds back in their favor. If the Texans convert red zone trips at a high clip, KC is out of margin for error. Roster moves to monitor after the game. The offensive line rotation and any follow-up injury designations, IR moves or short-term signings, will be the immediate front office priorities. Watch the Chiefs' official transaction log and team reports Monday morning. Before we close, drop your final score prediction in the comments now. Don't forget to like this breakdown and subscribe to help Total Chiefs News hit 6,000 subscribers. Stay locked with Total Twerties. Chiefs News, Hail Chiefs!